What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jackson. You already know that. How's it going? How are you doing today? I hope you specifically are doing amazing. I hope that, in not quarantine anymore, because we're kind of coming out of it now, or past out of it, depending on where you are, or if you're Hawaii, just like starting it. You're doing good. I really hope that. Sorry for the shoulders. Hope you aren't like freaked about it. This lack of dexterity, or not dexterity, that would mean I can't move. Lack of definition. There you go. That's the word. Yeah, I just got back from cross country, but that's not important. Today, we're talking about one thing and one thing only. That's the DC fandom. Now, the DC fandom, as we all know, has been a huge deal for the company. Now, I don't know if it's actually big for anybody else, but if you look at Instagram for the past 10 days, now the event's already passed, but for the 10 days, they were just promoting and promoting and promoting, and they had all this huge lineup and all this news, and it was a really big deal. I mean, you couldn't really go anywhere without noticing it on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, starting with Mr. Not Ben Affleck right here, Mr. Not George Clooney, Mr. Not Christopher Nolan, James Patterson. Did I say James Patterson, author of the acclaimed books that I can't remember right now? That's not true. It's Robert Pattinson. Right now, I'm going to just pull up so that way we have a frame of reference while we go all through this. What exactly were the announcements? Now, the biggest, one of the biggest, is probably this man right over here, The Batman, as it's going to be called, directed by Matt Reeves. It is going to be, I guess, just another semi-origin story. It's called The Batman, just like his original take, and that animated series, which kind of threw him back into the beginning. What's interesting is that we keep having these reimaginings of the character. I think it has to do a lot with, if you look at Joker, how Joaquin Phoenix had to redesign Joker after people furiously hated Suicide Squad's portrayal. What's his name? Jared Leto. The fact that we got a new Joker spoke volumes for how DC's kind of like, hey, if you don't like this, throw out another one immediately, right? That's what we're kind of seeing with Batman now. Ben Affleck, he did bring something to the table. I will say that. He did have that kind of build that the animated Batman had, although not exactly, because animated Batman literally just couldn't exist without being drawn like that. If he was as scrawny as Christopher Nolan's, I think it would have played differently. Or as scrawny as Supergirl's version of Batman that you got to see in the crossover. But anyway, now, yeah, we have this new Batman that's over here to my right. And he, I'm looking at him in the other monitor here. I kind of like the initial impression of the suit. I'm sure I'm going to put a picture up. But I do like the actual take on this Dark Knight's costume. I like those eyes. I like the more pointed ears, because what Christopher Nolan's Batman did was make everything a certain purpose. Like, there's a technical reason why everything is shaped the way it does. But, I'm kind of alright with this easy portrayal of, let's just make a Batman show. Next up, we got Wonder Woman 1984, which should have already come out, I think. It was scheduled for summer, I believe. But, everything happened. And this is the sequel that we've all been waiting for. I was a little confused in the trailer, I guess because I don't keep up with DC as much as I would keep up with, say, Marvel. But there was definitely a weird switch in the story, because I don't remember Chris Pine being in the original, like them saying what 1984 was about. But, it's still exciting. I think the original Wonder Woman, I think it was pretty good. But it didn't necessarily make every single mark for everybody, didn't hit every mark, but still an interesting story. Definitely a nice take on Wonder Woman. I think Gal Gadot does a great job, so it's definitely going to be exciting for another Wonder Woman story. My only concern is the whole 1984 part, just because there's been a million stories set in the 80s. It's a trope at this point to go to the 80s in a story. I mean, Stranger Things banked everything off that fact, right? So when you have another story, it's going to take real precise moves to make sure it's entertaining for audiences and everybody can enjoy the story. So that's kind of what I'm going to be looking for in terms of how this story pans out. But otherwise, I think it's just another, not cash grab, but an easy success. I'll say that. Easily successful. Then we got a take on the Zack Snyder cut. Now this is actually really interesting. I remember I was watching a game theory episode where he was talking about how basically scientifically, even if this movie is really bad, the hype has been so built up that they can just play off people's expectations and actually make people believe that it's going to be a good story. Now, that alone's pretty interesting, but as for the movie, the trailer does a good job of kind of reworking some stuff, putting in new scenes that we haven't seen to make it actually stand out as being a good story. Sorry if you hear some rumblings there, but yeah, I'm definitely going to be interested. I haven't seen Justice League in a while. I need to see the first one again just to understand how bad it was. I think I saw it on a flight, but yeah, I remember it being bad even then, and that weird like flight drunk thing where you're just like sleeping there. It was pretty bad. I mean, you got Steppenwolf and that whole CGI mess, those boxes. It's a weird story, but hopefully the Snyder cut, I mean, if it saves it, what ends up happening for this Batman or this Joker? Because technically, that's Jared Leto's Joker that's in that story. Same for Harley Quin, which we'll jump over to right now because we did get Suicide Squad information. The Suicide Squad. I don't know how the new Suicide Squad movie compares to the other one in terms of canonicity, if that's a word. It's directed by James Gunn, RDA+. Guardians 1, Guardians 2 proved that this man is good at what he does. He's good at bringing groups together and bringing comedy to the table. That's what we need in the story, right? And we definitely need the Suicide Squad with all of these different characters. You got Idris Elba, you have John Cena, which, I mean, you know, it's a good card to play, but it's also sort of a wild card. You got Pete Davidson. Obviously, you got the return of, why can't I remember her name? I want to say Emma Roberts, but I know that's not it, because Ryan Gosling would have to be there to make La La Land, and you know that's not what we're talking about. What is her name? Margot Robbie, yeah. Margot Robbie, sorry if you were screaming at the video. Margot Robbie, obviously, plays a huge role. She kind of is the face of the Suicide Squad in terms of movie to movie. Also, she's Harley Quinn. So, yeah, definitely going to be interested to see how that plays out. Sort of the last stuff that kind of ties it all together is the video game side, right? I didn't even realize that they were going to be releasing video games to go alongside, but it is really cool what they did. So first off, we got Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which is going to have you play as essentially the TV show Harley Quinn gang, which, by the way, if you haven't checked that show out, it's an amazing show. I was going to watch Lucifer Season 5, but I ended up watching that show instead. It was amazing. Anyway, but you essentially have those characters in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and they're going to have to try and save the world. Oops. Why does that happen every single time I record? It never falls when I'm just setting it up. But, sorry. But anyway, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Superman comes in. He's evil now. Whoops. Guess we got to stop him. But with Suicide Squad, and it's going to be really fun. I think you get to play as King Shark, Harley Quinn, obviously. And it's going to be made by the same people that made the Arkham series, which is a great series. So I'm really excited about that. And then moving right along over, the next thing that you have is the Gotham Knights video game. Now, the Gotham Knights video game is definitely exciting because you get to see Batman die. He'll probably come back, in all honesty. And you get to see basically his underlings, you know, they get to take on Gotham and make it a better place. They get to right not Batman's wrongs, but right his legacy. You have Red Hood, you have Robin, you have Batwoman, and you have Nightwing. So you basically get almost all the Robins, and you get Batwoman. It's going to be a crazy game, because I think each one will play differently, right? Nightwing can kind of play as this acrobat who can move with stealth. Red Hood plays just to kill. I mean, the rest of them don't kill, but Red Hood can just pull out a gun and shoot people. I don't know how, not Jason Todd's Robin, Damian Wayne's Robin. I don't know how he's going to play exactly, but Batwoman can play kind of like Batman in terms of her stealth and her fighting abilities. So each one has a different part to play. You have a great story, but I mean, hey, I'm willing to give it a shot. It's not the, oh no, it is the Arkham games guy. So, or at least Arkham Origins. I'm reading right here. So, yeah, it's gonna be a great game, and I think that ties up everything, right? There was a lot of other little news. Oh, there is one more thing. Shazam. let's just talk Shazam real quick. So Shazam 2 got a release date. I think it's October 22nd, 2022, something like that. We also got the Black Adam teaser, which The Rock was in full costume for a little not animated, but a little CGI thing. It's cool. But Black Adam, the movie, will be coming out at some point. They haven't released it, but they did show the title card. So that all being said, I'm excited for everything from DC Fandom, just because I think they're really trying to put their best foot forward moving on. I think we might be getting out of this dark tunnel of old Batman and old, Suicide Squad, like bad movies kind of, and we're moving into a direction of good story, good play with video games, and good ideas running. And it all starts right here, DC Fandom. So thank you guys for listening. That was my little recap that I just did. I thank you so much. I will see you at some time, probably tomorrow. I've been Jackson. See you guys later.